What's up everyone, Brad here with the Money Dad channel. In this video I'm talking about a company called GEVO, stock ticker GEVO, because there is a pattern shaping up on this chart that I want to talk to you about. I think there is a lot of gains to be had here in the very near future. But first, before I get into that, I want to tell you a little bit about this company. If you don't know anything about them yet, just a real quick kind of surface overview. They are an advanced biofuels and low carbon chemicals company. So they're in that green energy space that we keep talking about a lot on this channel, because that is a hot industry right now. There is a lot of gains in this industry over the last year and a half, 2 years. And I think with the new administration in place, green energy is going to see a lot more gains over the next 4 years, probably, at least in the very near term anyway. So GEVO is right there in that industry that I think is going to benefit really well over the next year and a half, maybe even 4 years. So pulling up their fundamentals in TradingView, you can see they are a little less than $3 billion market cap, so still relatively small for a publicly traded company, so a lot of room to run here. They are not profitable yet. They do have a lot of revenue, but they are not a profitable company. Probably focused on growth right now, not necessarily profits. And TradingView has a buy rating on them as far as technicals go. Now let's jump into this chart pattern. We made some money on this channel a few weeks ago, trading one of these chart patterns that I like to talk about, these waves. Right? When you see a chart like this, and there's not a whole lot of charts like this out there. It may seem like that because that's all I show on this channel, but believe me when I say I look at hundreds of charts a day to find charts that look like this, because these are the charts that I like to trade. They just seem to work out well. When you find a chart that has a big up move and then a little wave down and a big up move and a little wave down, right? You don't see that on every stock chart. You might see that on every chart that I show on this video, but that's because I'm screening so many stocks to show you guys. And that's why I talk about the same companies sometimes over and over, because they have these charts that look very good for trading. Okay, so we have another pattern shaping up on GEVO that I think is going to be tradable as long as we get a green candlestick to close today. Basically, if we close up today, then I will probably buy into this company as a trade. Okay, so I gave you guys kind of the background on this chart. We have been doing these waves up that have looked very good for this company and this chart. I mean, look, all the way back in November, that was only 3 months ago. This was a $1 stock, and we are already up to $15. Don't be scared of that. That does not mean that we are buying high on this stock, because this pattern right here indicates that we're about to go higher. Now, of course, there's no guarantees here. This is the stock market. Nothing is 100% guaranteed in the stock market. We could absolutely go lower, but we deal with probabilities here with these trades, and there is a higher probability that this pattern shows that we're going to keep going higher than it breaking down. So let me show you what this pattern is now, because this is a little bit different than some of the other patterns that I've shown on this channel, right? Normally I like to talk about bull pennants and bull flags because those are the most common. That's what I find the most, but this is not either one of those. This looks like we have a triple top right here. You see this price action has been coming up, and this candlestick right here hit a high right around there, and then we kind of hit our heads up against it and couldn't break through it and started trending lower. And then 2 days later, we had this candlestick come up and almost touch the exact same spot, right? So price action got almost to the exact same price that day and couldn't break through it, and we headed lower. We kind of hit our heads up against it, couldn't break through, started heading lower. Now we're heading back up. We got this wave coming up, and right here, yesterday, we hit our heads up against it, couldn't break through it again, right? So that's a triple top, unless you want to call this wave all one touch point, which, I mean, if we're looking at the daily, technically this is 2 touch points, right? It's clearly 2 different touch points. And if you break it down into the hourly or 15-minute, then it's definitely 2 different touch points. So I'm going to call it a triple top. And yesterday, we broke through it, but then backed off, and we closed right at that resistance level. And today, pre-market hours, as I'm recording this, we are set to gap up. We're set to open above this blue line. You see this orange line right here? That orange line is saying currently pre-market hours, this stock is trading above this blue line. So as long as we don't head lower during the market under this line, that's going to be very bullish for this stock. That means we broke above a key resistance level, a triple top resistance level, and we're going to close above it. As long as that candlestick is green, we're going to close above it, and then that means we have broken through that resistance. It's no longer resistance, it's behind us now, it's underneath us, it's now support, and we're heading higher. And we can actually make a price target on this pattern by measuring this little wedge pattern that we have here, the height of this wedge pattern. So we take our little blue line, stick it to the bottom of this candlestick right here. We have, you see this nice little wave that kind of just trailed up the bottom of this support to create this nice little wedge. So we have this wedge, we're gonna break out to the upside. So we measure the height of this wedge, we get a height of $4.70. So we take that $4.70 and we add it on top of this wedge, and that gives us our price target. So $4.70 from, if we think we're breaking out right now today, we take $4.70, we add it right here, and we get a price target of $19.15. So that's the price target on GEVO, $19.15 if we break above. Basically, if today is a green day for GEVO, then the price target is going to be $19.15, which looks like it's going to be. It is pre-market hours, so it's a little unpredictable. It doesn't mean that's going to stick during the market. You know, if the overall stock market takes a dip today, it's probably going to pull most stocks down. It's probably going to pull GEVO down with it. So there's no guarantees here, but just watch to make sure GEVO is green today. And if it is, we will be targeting $19.15 on this stock. That is pretty significant because this stock is currently trading at $14.45. So we're talking about $4.50, more than $4.50 of upside on a $14.50 stock. So what is that, like 33%-ish upside? So that's a lot of upside that could happen in a very short amount of time. I mean, this trade could take a couple days, it could take a week, 2 weeks. I think it'll happen fairly quickly. So 33% on your money over a very short period of time. Now, all that said, you know, like I said earlier in the video, this isn't 100%. This is a probability play. I think this is going to happen because I make my trades based on higher probabilities. Doesn't mean that it's definitely going to happen. So how do you manage your risk there? Two things you can do that I like to do. One, I don't take huge positions in any one trade. I like to use about 1/10 of my portfolio. That gives me room to have cash for the next trade. It gives me room to have multiple trades going on at one time. So 1/10 of the portfolio, so that if you lose money on this trade, it doesn't kill you. Two, set a stop loss or have a price in mind when you're going to sell if this starts to break down. In my opinion, that price would be under this blue line. So if we break down under 14.45, I would probably sell. Get out of the trade because it's now broken. We are planning, this whole trade is based off of breaking through this resistance line, right? If we stay above 14.45, then we're above the resistance line, and that line is now support. If we break below it, it's now resistance again. We're now butting our heads up against it, trying to break through it. That's not a good thing. So if we break below, there's no trade anymore. It doesn't make sense. So I would put a stop loss probably right under 14.45, $14 even, something like that. It's up to you guys really how much wiggle room you want to give yourself with that. It depends on how much you believe in GEVO for the long term. You know, if you're a long-term investor, maybe you don't put a stop loss at all and you just stick with it. You stick through the waves. If you're a short-term trader, swing trader or something like that, maybe you want a tighter stop loss. It's totally up to you guys, but these are my recommendations. You know, all that said, I'm not a financial advisor, so just take this as my opinion as some random guy on the internet, and do your own due diligence. Please don't base any of your trades solely off of what you see in this video, okay? So that's what I've got for GEVO, guys. I think it's looking really good here. It's going to be a trade soon for my portfolio. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you're not a subscriber yet, hit the subscribe button. I do stock chart pattern analysis on this channel. We make trades based off of stock chart patterns that we see on these charts, and we've done pretty well, having some fun and making some money at the same time. And if you guys want to help me out in any way, I have a lot of links down below in the description. You can, there's investing books down there. There's my PayPal link. There is videos to watch on how to read stock charts and find patterns like that. So anything that you click down there in the description below would help me out. I would appreciate that. Thanks, guys. I will see you in the next video.